It's always a treat to be asked to summarise 5 presentations. There's quite a lot to cover, I guess. And from my point of view, I think we started with a very engaging tale of Chloe's letter about the gorgeous Eduardo and the importance of getting your perspective right early on. But also, as a London-based late 40s English male who only speaks one language, I'm getting a bit nervous, to be honest with you. I'm just hoping that Peter's not going to come around and sack me. I don't work for him anymore, so I'm hoping he can't do that. But you never know. He has influence in places. He did say, though, I think, that it's remembered to do good, and that's one theme that seems to have run through a lot of the presentations today, is that PR can influence our clients for good in the right way. The balance of power is clearly shifting towards the Asia-Pacific, or that may have happened already, and we just haven't noticed because I've been too busy. But as Prima said, it's not easy. The realities of working in India, I think, was a real opener for those of us who've probably only read the rather nice, glossy brochure view of the growing economies. And Brad, it really stood out to me. He said, if you're in the West, you're not necessarily the smartest person in the room anymore. And my take on it is you're probably in the wrong room as well, and that's part of the issue if you're not looking further east. Things got a little bit more optimistic, I think, after the coffee break. John brought us his 3-point plan to look at or filter the changes in Europe, freedom, faith and fortitude. I also just, by the way, love the idea of shutting down the 1-month August European holiday. That's really going to fly. That's going to happen. But he left me feeling optimistic, even though his vision of having my performance graded by my colleagues and clients publicly does make me a little nervous, I have to say. It's bad enough in the pub after a few beers. I don't need it on the internet as well. But we do need to respond quickly, is my take on that, and be focused on what we stick in it. I think Rob's optimistic and rather practical view of the world really brought it to a nice conclusion. And one insight for me is advocacy is everybody's business now. So where does that leave us? Those of us who built our expertise around that. So what's our response? Move up the value chain. It's not the first time we've heard that, but from my point of view, I'm always in favour of things that allow me to charge a larger hourly rate and increase the profits. That makes perfect sense to me. So if we can enable conversations, edit the content and create that, and then ultimately elevate by helping to shape clients' cultures again, that's good. So dares do good again. And that short-term focus on creativity, analytics, and getting the right people to do the right jobs resonated. So overall, there's lots to be optimistic about from my point of view, but the one thing I'm taking out of this is the need to focus on 4 things, and this is personal view. Understand that the power has shifted, and is shifting and will continue to do so. That your people still remain critical in the centre of your organisation, but they have to have the right skills. And that probably goes from everything from reading the newspapers, as John said, through to the ability to understand communications in a social, digital environment. Do good. This is something that I know Lou, when he was president, gave speeches all over the world in his 2 years about the importance of PR, being ethical and doing good for clients or for the society as a whole. That's really good news. And lastly, I think we all have to expect a really, really rough ride, wherever you are in the world, and there's going to be no quick fix. Whether you believe Peter's view that we're all bankrupt and, frankly, just turn the lights out and go home, or whether you have a more optimistic view, it's definitely not going to be easy. So just leaves me to say, I'd like to thank all the speakers again for a very engaging afternoon. Thank you for involving yourselves and getting engaged in it. And lastly, 2 pieces of housekeeping. This being a PR conference, a communications conference, Peter, my apologies. We are obviously having drinks around the fountain outside for an hour, starting at 7 this evening, so we'd like you to join us there. We've been asked a number of times about the dress code for this evening, so I hope you've all brought your national dress along. That's a given. Certainly, I'm looking forward to David Gallagher in a Beefeater outfit with a Stetson. I think that's a great combination. Joking apart, suits and ties if you've got them, but as smart as you can get if you haven't. Dinner starts at 8 in the room across the other side of the area we had coffee in. And as I say, drinks around the fountain outside from 7. So thank you very much indeed.